The details of life before the war are fuzzy for Chava Loopuit, who was 5 years of age in 1942 when the deportation of Jews in Amsterdam began. It was during this tense time when Bernhard and Johanna Loopuit made the painful decision to give up Chava and their youngest daughter Hadassah to non-Jewish families to care for them.
I understood the danger when my parents told me that I had to go away, to wait till they returned and took me back home.
Chava was instructed to be a good girl, to listen and obey the family with whom she would go to live, and to eat all of her food. Most importantly, Chava's parents promised her that they would pick her up when it was all over. Chava held the bag that contained her belongings, 2 dolls, a few books, and some clothing. Then Chava was brought to Friesland in the north of Holland, to the home of Hilke Brouwer, an important member of the Dutch underground, and his wife, Gelska. After 2 days at the Brouwer home, Chava climbed behind Hilke on his bicycle, and together they rode under the cover of darkness to the home of Bernhardina van de Pol, 58, and her daughter, Elisabeth Gertruida, 30, in the village of Droogeham. Chava spent most of the daylight hours playing in the attic with her dolls, read books, especially the Bible, both the New and Old Testaments, painted and drew, practiced her reading and writing, and learned math under the tutelage of Bernhardina, a former school teacher.
Bernhardina was teacher. She was in charge of my education, and that more about my physical care. She cared about my vitamins.
In spite of Oma's and Tante Bep's devotion, Chava waited and waited each day for the next 2 years for her parents to pick her up. Once happy and full of hope and optimism, Chava became fearful, terrified even of the shadows. In 1944, a German razzia in Droogeham picked up 2 of Bernhardina's sons, Chris, 18, and Ben, 20, to work for the German war effort. Ben was sent to work in an ammunition factory in Hanover, Germany. Chava sent Ben letters filled with pictures and little stories and received letters in return. Then, in January 1945, tragedy struck when Chava's beloved Oma died at the age of 60 from complications that arose during surgery. And just 3 months later, Ben died when the Allied forces bombed the factory in which he was working. Chava, stricken by the loss of Oma and Ben, continued to live with Tante Bep for another 6 months until Droogeham was liberated by Canadian soldiers in April of 1945. For the better part of 2 years, Chava, who had barely seen another child, was now free to play with others and walk about. Within days of the liberation, Chava entered grade 3 and, thanks to Oma, was completely caught up in her studies. In spite of the loss that Chava had experienced, Chava still had the slim hope of being reunited with her parents. But sadly, that day would never come. Upon returning from school one day, Chava was informed by Tante Bep that a letter had arrived from her Aunt Bertel in Amsterdam. Bep opened the letter and read the contents slowly. The words, "Your parents will not return," ringing in Chava's ears. Only later did Chava learn that her parents were murdered on the very day they had arrived to the Sobibor camp.
The horrible things that happened to Chava is something that it just breaks my heart. The whole thing is just beyond my whole comprehension, how a little girl could come out of that with any kind of sanity at all.
She was such a young child, and to have that happen to her, too difficult to believe.
Where Chava would continue to live became a matter of debate. She could not continue to live with Bep, as the law at the time prohibited single women from taking charge of children. the War Orphans Commission finally decided to place Chava in the Nathan Dasberg Orphanage, whose mandate was to prepare children to make Aliyah to Israel. In 1949, Chava, at 12 years of age, arrived in Tel Aviv, Israel, to live with her uncle Jacob Rothschild. As the years passed, the dark shadows that hung over Chava's life gradually dissipated. Chava married Yehuda Dinner at the age of 19, raised a family, and studied to become a teacher and a librarian. Today, righteous among the nations Bernhardina and Elizabeth Gertruida van der Pol are remembered for their strength, compassion, and integrity by their descendants.
I'm glad Oma is getting her recognition for doing what she did.
I would say that I'm very proud of her.
You have to do something for your fellow man all the time, even if you do just a little bit. And what Oma did was a lot.
I would just think she was amazing. Could I do it? I don't know.
If not for them, it is doubtful whether today Chava would have the joyful experience of being surrounded by her 5 children, 23 grandchildren, and 21 great-grandchildren.
It's amazing that the act of 2 women and the result is the whole family. It's wonderful.